Okay, we are live with Patrick. I think Mark is going to join us sooner on. I don't know if he's having technical difficulties, probably, but we'll just hit this off right now. Today is going to be a groundbreaking, the most impactful session that we've had in a long time or ever. We are going to recount down painful, very painful memory lanes of our journey on LinkedIn, committing those mistakes, sometimes huge, sometimes little mistakes that all of us have committed, especially me and Patrick and Mark when he joins us. So basically, this is what this session is about. Our guest of honor is Patrick Simone. He is the founder of Adesso Digital with 1,200 happy clients. Very, very monumental service here. And it's just like amazing what he's doing in the space of corporate space, principally helping any type of company, but focusing on logistic companies, shipping and export, because that's his background. Um, that's where he thrives. So I'm not going to explain the story. Let's hand it over to him. So Patrick, just explain a little bit about your background, how you got started on LinkedIn, and also how you help your clients.
Sure. Thank you very much, Jordan and Mark, for having me tonight. My name is Patrick Simone. As you can guess already from the name, is like Swiss, Italian parents, but I grew up and been born here in Switzerland. And that's why I consider myself being half Italian, half Swiss. Usually I say this is like more the Swiss part, and from here it's more the Italian part, the Italian passion, Swiss precision, if you want, like a Swiss watch. I have been working in the corporate space, actually in logistics and freight forwarding for more than 23 years. I started my career. I did my apprenticeship as we do here in Switzerland. Actually, with 16 years old, I started working in a small forwarding company, and I did let's call it a more or less classic career. I was always very ambitious. I wanted to go the next step, and a couple of highlights in my career were country manager in Africa. I've been a couple of years in Cameroon, actually, where I spent some time managing a business unit there. I've been a global account manager for a very big logistics company where I was responsible for one of the top 15 accounts worldwide of the entire company. And my last assignment in the corporate world was actually, I was a chief commercial officer. I was responsible for Switzerland and for France. And I was supervising a marketing and sales team. And as you can guess, we were responsible for sales and marketing.
Wow.
And that's exactly,
Amazing.
Thank you. And that's exactly where I basically found out my passion for LinkedIn and social selling.
Wow.
And I hope and I think that probably quite some salespeople and sales leaders are watching and watching
Yeah.
right now.
100%.
And I mean, what is all our goal as sales leaders or as sales managers or as salespeople and pros in general is to be more effective, more efficient, to have a constant full
Perfect.
pipeline, to have high quality leads, and of course to close sales, to win customers.
Of course. Of course.
So guess what? I was looking for a way to improve the performance of myself and my team. And by coincidence, I picked up that term social selling in LinkedIn. And
Mm,
I've had, like probably most of us, a LinkedIn profile for many years. That was the profile in case
yeah.
one day I'm going to look for a job. Luckily, that day until today never happened. I never had to look for a job, but I had my profile because, you never know. And then I started realizing that LinkedIn is much more than just a job platform, and your profile is much more than a digital CV. And I
Yeah.
started, learning about LinkedIn, about social media in general, about digital marketing, online marketing, digital sales. I spent really like a lot of money and time to get kind of up to speed. And then I started doing LinkedIn. I did it on my profile. I started connecting with potential customers. We created a company page, and what happened was like just incredible. We started to get leads. We started to be more successful in front of customers, even in the face to
Awesome.
face or on the phone, because we realized that the customers, even the let's say the potential, the prospects or the leads who didn't really know us yet, they
Mm,
were
yeah.
already aware
Got
of our company and what we are doing. So we
got
had
it.
already a certain level of trust because of our visibility and activity on LinkedIn.
Got it.
Long
Got it.
story short, that was back in 2018. We became the most successful sales organization within our group company, with the group, and we
Wow.
had
Amazing.
15,000 employees worldwide, and we were the most successful sales team. And I've been invited to the global sales meeting, which was every year, where every sales leader from every country globally were um, basically meeting. And I've been invited to present my strategies. And
Wow.
guess what? The title of my presentation was composed of two words: social selling. So I was standing in
Wonderful.
front of 80 people and explaining what we were doing, and the people were looking at me with big eyes, and that's the moment I realized that I found
Yeah.
something special.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I started to really even deepen the passion and my knowledge and my know-how
Wow.
about that. And
Amazing.
about 1 year later, just when the corona hit our world, I basically decided to leave the corporate world, to leave my job, and to jump straight forward into my building my own business. And this was
Wow.
in 2020, and now 4 years
Amazing.
later, here I am.
Wow. Amazing. That's great. That's great. So, um, welcome, Mark. How's it
Hey
going?
guys, I'm sorry I'm late. There was a bit of technical difficulty in my end. So
No, no problem.
great,
No
great to see
problem, Mark.
you,
Yeah.
Patrick. What an introduction! Like, great to hear a bit more about your story, your background. What an inspiration for many, I'm sure. Like, that's an incredible journey. And obviously, since COVID came along 4 years ago, I can't believe it was that long ago. Like,
Yes.
congratulations on obviously taking that jump and then going into that all in head first. And it's I really want to dig into a few things today. I'm sure Jordan does as well.
Sure.
Find out a little bit about that journey, find out about those struggles, those successes, those things that you mistakes along the way in the journey from 4 years ago when you started social selling on your own to building your team out to scaling your business and all these kind of things. I'm super excited for this. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you
So,
so much.
so for those well, of course, we've been doing this for a long time on LinkedIn, but there may be some people that are not aware of what me and Mark do. Of course, we do LinkedIn Done For You and LinkedIn coaching also. Um, we do solopreneurs coaches, but also corporate. Um, we my journey, just give you the rundown. I have 25 years in software sales experience, committing 50K to 100K packages consistently. But I say this like it's easy. It wasn't easy at all. I had my ups and downs and like twirl arounds, and so yeah. So that's a little bit about my story. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, so for me, I've got 15 years experience in networking and building relationships. I've been able to move businesses from 250K to 3.6 million over 3 years. So which is quite a growth. So I've done that with multiple businesses, mostly in the hospitality sector, through the power of networking and building relationships. And repeat customers is what the name of the game is that we really want, being able to build those relationships and make them stronger. So LinkedIn is a perfect platform for that, right,
Yeah,
Patrick?
Absolutely,
exactly.
100%. And it's
Okay, guys.
getting
So
stronger by the day.
yeah, exactly. So let's get into the nitty gritty here, right? So, okay, so maybe each one of us can take a turn, but we'll start with you, Patrick, of course. So, what, just starting out, or even like right now, or even maybe 6 months ago, or whatever you want to share, what was some huge mistakes that you made and some little mistakes that you made on the platform?
Well, I've been thinking a lot in preparation of this live today about where I should start. And to be honest with you, I still didn't make up my mind. And that's kind of one key message I wanna drop right now at the beginning is like it's impossible to not make mistakes. You have to make mistakes in order to become successful. You have to
Beautiful, beautiful.
basically you have to yeah,
Embrace.
you have to go, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
embrace mistakes, and you have to go through that painful uh,
Mhm.
experience in order to learn what works and what doesn't learn. Now obviously it became my job and your jobs as well to learn and to tell people what to do, but still it's important that they try it in their own let's
Mm,
say area of
beautiful,
responsibility,
beautiful.
and also try it out, because what works for me, it doesn't mean that it works for Mark, or
Yeah, yeah,
works for you, Jordan, or for
beautiful,
anybody else.
beautiful.
And I
Yeah,
think that's very, very important. There
you hit
is
the nail
no,
on the head. Hmm.
that's like a second point I want to leave is like,
Yeah,
first, make
on the
mistakes,
disclaimer,
embrace it, and
right?
secondly, there is no blueprint. I mean, there are
Mm,
so many tips and
wonderful.
tricks and hacks and shortcuts and silver bullet and magic pills and you name it, but there is not one
Beautiful,
one way to do it. I think at the end it's a
beautiful.
combination,
Yeah,
Hmm.
and you
yeah,
need to kind of find your own way, because
yeah.
even if
You're
I
right.
do it in one way, it's important that you find a way which not only works for you from a
Beautiful.
technical point of view, but also works for you in a sense that it fits in your everyday agenda.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And,
And that
and
that brings
yeah,
me to the third point,
yeah, go
actually,
ahead,
just
go ahead,
quickly,
go ahead.
before we
No,
go
no
into the
problem, no
real
problem,
details of the mistakes, is like
no problem.
you need to find something which works for you, which you can implement in your daily business. If
Mm,
social selling is
yeah,
not part of your if social selling is not part of your daily business, it will never be successful,
mm,
because you
yeah,
need to find whatever it is, 15
mm,
minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is. You need to find the spot where you say, this is my time where I do certain tasks. I
yeah,
probably will get into that a little bit
right,
later.
yeah.
And I think that's very important.
Yeah, and, and also like in terms of coaching, like I've over the years I've had many coaches, like sales coaches, like world renowned sales coaches, LinkedIn coaches. But again, at first you follow their templates, you follow their way, but you're projecting their brand voice. Well, like you said, Patrick, right? You have to find a
Yeah,
way to do it in your own voice, in your own way, even if you have a coach, right?
yeah,
You gotta to find a way to translate. You gotta get the coach to help you personalize your strategy, and that is
Exactly.
100% right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All
So
right. So Patrick. So just thinking, like in terms of like maybe, did you find it difficult, like having like a corporate background and corporate selling, the way they wanted to do it, and if you don't do it, you get in trouble, right? Like, like I remember sending 9,000 outbound emails and getting 50 calls booked, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's amazing, Jordan," and I'm like, it's really not, right? Uh, and so, did you have like trouble transitioning, like in terms of applying the strategies that you encounter every day at work
Well,
to?
let's say
Yeah, go ahead.
from a personal point of
Yeah.
view, I at the beginning I had really, let's say, trouble, but that was more a personal challenge. Let's put it that way, because it's
Mhm.
different if you sell a product from a company, no matter
Mm,
what product or service you're selling.
yeah,
You know, from your employer, for example, and we
yeah,
were selling logistics services. You know, it's one thing is if you sell something, you know, which, you know, it's already nicely packaged, and you know it's a B and C, and that's the price, and whatever. But it's completely different when you sell your own services. So that
Wow.
big
was like a
time.
big change for myself.
Big time, big time, big time. Yeah,
I wouldn't say that I, for sure I did some mistakes, but I mean it was not like a mistake. It was more a mindset thing. It was
yeah.
like it's much
Mm,
more challenging to sell your own services
yeah, that's
with
true.
your name than a service which, you know, which is from a big corporate
Mm,
organization, which, you know, which, you know, that's a service, that's the price, and that's the framework around it. So
yeah,
that's completely different. I think there was a big change.
yeah.
But from the other aspect, because I came from corporates, and I from day one I worked and I offered my social selling, coaching and training, and consulting services to other corporate teams or to sales teams. You know, it was easy for me to, and still today obviously it
That's
is,
good.
because I've been there, I've done that. I
In the
know exactly the
trenches.
situation exactly. So that
Yeah,
was, that was the easy, and that's also
awesome.
that was also the main reason why from day one I focused on corporates and on sales teams, because
Mm,
having been a sales leader myself, you know, I could, you know, I know how sales leader think. I know their challenges. I know the challenges which the sales people
yeah.
have, sales managers, etc. And that's why I immediately positioned myself in that, let's say, in that niche.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Um, Go ahead, Mark. What did you have?
Yeah, so I think Patrick, you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about positioning. I think if there's anyone in the audience who isn't quite sure about their position right now, you need to look at what your strengths are and really focus on what your strengths are, what you
Beautiful,
want to achieve, and how you can help
beautiful.
people achieve what they want to achieve using your
Yeah,
strengths. So,
yeah.
for example, like Patrick's saying, he's done it for previous corporate teams. So then he did it for another corporate
Mhm.
team, and then another corporate team,
Yeah,
and another corporate team. So it's
yeah,
all about knowing those strengths. So I
yeah,
really would just want to resonate on that message about really leaning in on your superpowers and
yeah.
really starting to
Wonderful.
grow those to
Mhm.
help those other people
Yeah,
succeed, because
yeah.
not everyone has that superpower that you have. So if that, what I'm trying to say is really use that to tailor your message and tailor your service to what people can
Mm,
benefit from.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, thank
wonderful,
you.
wonderful. Yeah, and most times, like for me, um, I was a top performer, and I had trouble because I was applying corporate strategies
Mm,
on
mm,
trying to sell my own product here on LinkedIn or service, and
yeah,
that's where the disconnect started to happen, and that's when I got involved in like overly pushy strategies, like
yeah,
my 9,000 amazing cold email outreach, right? So yeah, it's like all in the way you approach. Like I get LinkedIn DMs all the time, trying to be cheeky, trying to be funny, trying to sell me their services, pitching, not getting to know me, uh, gifts. Hello, where are you? And Homer Simpson going into the bushes, and,
yeah.
and I mean, for some those work, but overall, I mean, that kind of outreach, that kind of pit sloppy, even if it's like funny, I don't go for. It's all about developing relationships. It's all about developing community and learning and figuring out if you can even support uh, the person inquiring about your services, right?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
Patrick, did you
Yes.
ever have a struggle when it came to that kind of like lead gen, like at the beginning? Was it where you were kind of like pitching out and not getting anything back, and then you adjusted your strategy? Like, tell me a little bit about that, man.
Well, that's a very very not fun story, but it's it's like something. I mean, first of all, maybe let me just go one step back, just
sure,
quickly.
Yeah,
I
of
mean, I
course.
told you about my story before and how I
sure.
went into my from the corporate world. I transitioned into building my own business, etc. One reality which I only realized actually, until a couple years ago, really realized is that the main reason why I I I started doing social selling and why I loved so much social selling is because I always hated cold calling. I
Mm.
mean, calling,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and cold outreach. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying that it doesn't work. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Okay, it's and
yeah,
nothing against cold
yeah. It
calling
works.
and cold outreach, but it's just not
Nothing
my
against it.
cup of tea. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
It's not my
Yeah.
strength. I've always built my business wins around networking, about building
Yeah.
relationships, and that's why
Yeah.
when I found out about social selling, that's exactly my cup of tea. Building
Mm.
relationships, reaching out with people, exchanging with people, and then when they are ready, they come to me, and
Yeah.
that's the
Beautiful.
classic inbound lead. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why inbound leads, I'm a big fan of inbound leads, because an inbound lead normally you have, it depends of course on many things, but I would say around 70% probability that you can close it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends of course of many
Beautiful.
factors, but
Mhm.
more or less. So it's much higher probability that you close than when you than from an outbound reach, uh,
Yeah. That's
outreach.
true.
Sorry. However, in the first, let's say, couple years of my own business, I tapped into my network. So I started doing a couple of calls, not cold calls, but like warm. Hey, Mark, how are you? Hey, Jordan. And I'm building my own business, and in case you need whatever, like really
Mm-hmm.
warm calls. And that's how I started to get
Mm.
the machine
Yeah.
running, like slowly but surely. Then I got recommendations, etc., etc. And for a long time, I never needed any outbound strategy. I mean, I swear I didn't do any outbound, let's say, activities.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
Mark, you asked me at the beginning, how in terms of the scaling business and growing business,
Yep.
etc. Now, I got to a point where I wanted to grow my business, and that's exactly when I started to
Mm.
implement on LinkedIn and learn as well the outbound game, not only the
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
inbound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
One
in my
hundred percent.
opinion, it's very difficult to have like a good balance of both outbound and inbound. Because outbound, you
Mm.
can control more because you basically, it's exactly like
Yeah.
Jordan said.
Yeah.
You can send out, I mean, don't do it, please, but 9,000.
Yeah. Don't do it. I tried it. It didn't work on LinkedIn.
Exactly, 9,000 direct messages, and I hope that you get some follow up and some appointments or whatever, some meetings. Um, I prefer to do it like, step by step, in a sense that,
Mm-hmm.
I have my
Beautiful.
content strategy, which we will talk in a minute about,
Yeah.
and I have my outreach strategy where every day I reach out to new people outside my network. This can be influencers, creators.
Mm.
This can
Beautiful.
be people I know, from whatever. It could even be a neighbor, for example. Ah, you're on LinkedIn. Okay, let's connect. Friends, former colleagues, you name it. And third pillar, very important, obviously, every day reach out to prospects, to potential customers
Mm-hmm.
every
Yeah.
day.
Every day.
And I mean, if you invite 10 to 15 people every day from your target audience, not everybody will accept it. That's okay. But those who will accept it, and if those you start a conversation slowly but surely, they will see your content. You will see if they post their content, and that's how you can warm up, like slowly but surely, a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, yeah, like totally agree. I mean, like, it, I think a lot of people have a stigma around outbound, and they think it's like cold outreach, but it's outbound can be warm, um, through LinkedIn, right?
For
Um,
sure.
it's it's one of those things, to really have a good outbound strategy and connect with these people in the right way and approach them in the right way, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know how to do that, right? A lot of people struggle in the DMs. A lot of people, don't know how to word things in the DMs to for them not to get ghosted or for them not to sound creepy, right? Like I did, like many many times before, and so it's really, um, like there's a difference between good outbound and bad outbound, right? So yeah,
Sure.
we always have
I
to realize that.
I agree, and I think in the end, it all boils down to a point which is like it's not a cold outreach platform. It's not like picking up the phone and pitching your service, right? And that's where the biggest mistake is because then in the end, you exactly what we said at the beginning, Mark may have another tone and way of speaking and writing to people like than Jordan, and Jordan different than me. Also
Yeah.
comes back to language,
Yeah,
like what country you are. I
yeah,
think in the US or in the UK, it's completely different than in Switzerland and in Germany.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's little details, but it's not like it comes again to that. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be adjusted to the tone. Needs to be adjusted to your
yeah.
audience.
100%.
Um,
100%.
if you're reaching out to a CEO, probably you say, "Hey, my friend, how is life or whatever." Probably you have a different tone, and
Yeah,
and I think that's
it's
that's
more formal.
important. But at
Yeah,
the same time, you need to stay authentic.
yeah,
My experience as well, and that's also, let's call it a mistake, is that every person on LinkedIn is different. Probably
Yeah.
you can put them in buckets. It's a little bit like, there are this personality tests like DISC and these things and 360 and all this personality tests. And
Hmm.
you can put every person, you can put in a bucket, right?
mm,
And for sure, how shall I say, every person is different, is reacting differently to your outreach. Some, you
yeah,
can have the best strategy and the best message, and people won't react because they
yeah,
are just in that moment.
yeah,
They have other things in their mind. They don't, they don't need your service, or just don't want to get in touch with you. And maybe
Mm.
just on that day, they got 10 other invitations and you're just one of them, and you're just in bad luck. You just have a bad luck that basically you get ignored or whatever. So I think it has different aspects that also there we have to make our mistakes. We need to try, and if you don't try, you will never find out. What do you think,
Yeah.
Mark? You are the outbound specialist.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what you're saying. So it comes back to when I was in restaurants and hotels, it's about reading the individuals. So when you get to meet someone face to face, it's slightly easier to read them because you can see their emotion, you can see their body language, you can see all of those kind of things. But I think you hit the nail on the head. You need to understand who you're speaking to, first of all. What kind of level of seniority are they? So, for example, CEO versus sales manager versus sales team leader, for
Yeah,
example. You have to understand what level you're talking to how you connect. I think the personal level of connection needs to be a step up for a lot of people. So I do see a lot of DMs coming in saying, "Hey Mark, I'd like to connect with you. I like your color and your branding," and that was it.
yeah.
Whereas I feel like people can probably go a little bit extra and maybe like that's a mistake I made, right, guys? I made the same
yeah,
mistake. The reason I'm saying it is because I've been there, I've done the same mistakes. I've sent DMs saying, "I love your profile, let's connect." 9 times out of 10, they didn't connect. So
Well,
what I learned to do is absorb more and get to know them through their content. Like you said, Patrick, earlier, you said about getting to know people through their content, and it's the same the other way. You can get to know them, and they can get to know you. So have a look
yeah,
through their content, find out about their personality, have a look at some of their mindset posts, have a look at some of their success posts. So like, oh my God, James, it's incredible to see how you shifted your mindset from not closing anything to closing 10 leads in a week. Like closing that £1 million deal last week was incredible. I'd love to connect with you to find out more. Would you guys connect to that
Absolutely.
message? Just out of curiosity.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. So
I
for
mean,
the
if I
people who are
realize,
watching, yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I was
sorry,
just gonna
no,
say, for the people who are watching, please let us know you're here. Please be active in the chat. Let us know where you're from and what you do, and please let us know your questions, and we'll watch for the we'll watch the chat for them. Thanks a lot. Go ahead,
yes,
Patrick.
please ask the questions. We are happy to answer all the questions. It makes the whole conversation even more interesting. What I was saying, Mark, is that in the end, it's I admit, that there are days where you have more time and days where you have less time, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and I think if you show the person you're connecting to or you're trying to connect to, if you just show, or if the person realizes that you have taken the time to look into his or
Mm-hmm.
her profile, already it's like a game changer. Whatever the detail is you pick, and the more details you pick, the higher the probability that they will accept. Now, I have to admit as well that sometimes, to be very honest with you, I simply have no time. So I have the
Mm-hmm.
choice. Do I send no invitation requests, or do I just get much, I just try and I send out a couple of invitation requests with a standard text like, "Hi, Mark, I've just came across your profile, looks interesting, let's connect." Or sometimes even without any text,
Mm,
without just blank invitation. And honestly, sometimes even this works. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yes,
why
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's true.
we need to
That's
kind
true.
of we need to kind of again, it comes back to what we said before. You need to
Exactly.
find what works for you.
Yeah,
Not everything works for everybody, not the same message works for
yeah,
everybody.
that's true.
The reason why these automations don't work is exactly that, because it's the same message to everyone, even the
Mm-hmm.
ones saying it's a personalized automated. Ooh, what is this?
You celebrated. You celebrated there.
Okay. I've never seen that.
Confetti.
Uh, Even the personalized, automized message. I mean, what is
Yeah.
personalized? Usually it's the name and the company name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, and then
Yeah,
it's
100%.
personalized, and that's why these things usually don't work. They have another strategy. The strategy there is Jordan's previous strategy is about mass and quantity.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah,
Which, don't get me wrong, I think in the end, everybody's this discussion quantity versus quality. I think in the end you need both. To be
yeah,
honest with
Yeah.
you, you need both. You
100%.
need high quality, yes, but you also need quantity to scale, but
Yeah,
also quantity to learn. Because
yeah,
Mm.
the more you
Nice.
do, whatever it is, content, messages, invitations, comments, whatever it is, the more quantity you have, the faster you learn,
yeah,
and the better your quality gets if you learn.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 100%. It's all about la- like no one has 100% closing rates, right? So it's all about like learning the process. That's why I love about sales and approaches is like um, you're always learning. Even if you're super successful, like you be like the next Elon Musk, having billions and number one company in the world and whatever, but you're still learning about how to get more clients, right? Because um, that's the beauty of sales. And same thing with LinkedIn strategies. No, like you said, Patrick, not everyone has LinkedIn figured out 100%, or else their closing rate would be 100%, right? So that's the beauty of LinkedIn, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's the beauty, and that's exactly what it's all about learning and growing. In the end, it's all about that.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Patrick,
And to talk. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
sorry, I'd like to ask you a question if that's all right. Can you
Mhm.
give me your three biggest learns from your experience on LinkedIn? So your three biggest learns and maybe one loss.
It's a big one.
Three biggest learnings, huh? You mean, huh? What?
Yeah. So
Okay,
from your beginning of your time to now, what's your three biggest learns when it comes to LinkedIn?
The huge question.
ignoring number one, neglecting your profile. Huge one.
It's a
Very simple one, but
huge one.
massive one.
Big,
Because this is impacting your
massive,
entire next steps, your outreaching
massive.
campaigns, your invitations, your content, your leads, your inbound lead. This is impacting everything. And I've seen so many profiles out there which literally just they suck, they look unprofessional, they are incomplete. They are
That's
incomplete,
real.
some are complete but they look completely unauthentic, because today we all know, we all use ChatGPT, of course, but I think a lot of people use it but they don't know how to use it. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
standardized, like a
With all
profile
the
which,
emojis
yeah,
unleashed,
exactly. And then it
unleashed.
looks unauthentic, and I
Yeah,
think that's
a
a
lot.
huge mistake. So for me, it's profile. It needs to look professional, yes, because it's a
Mm-hmm.
professional business network. It's not
Yeah,
Facebook. It's not
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
And with professional, I don't mean like you need to have your suit and tie and whatever. What I
yeah,
mean is professional. People need to say, okay, this guy is an expert. He knows what he's talking about. That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
impression you want to leave.
yeah,
And
Mm-hmm.
with that, it needs to be also authentic.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
again, being professional doesn't mean that you cannot be fun, that you cannot laugh, that you cannot be just yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
For sure. For
that's
sure.
for me. For me, it's very important. So profile optimization is always a number one.
yeah,
Second one, and I've done my mistakes there too, obviously, and I have to also to admit that I'm constantly kind of also trying new things on my profile. I'm
Mm-hmm.
changing the banner. Sometimes I change the headline, the about section, the features. I try different things to see what works more, what works less. Do you put a freebie in your featured section? Do you put
Sure.
a Calendly link, or do you put whatever it is? And
mm,
different things
beautiful.
lead to
Yeah,
different
that's
activities
right.
and actions, and that's why people really need to think about how do they want to leverage their
Yeah,
profile, because this is your landing
beautiful.
page, this is like
Yeah,
your funnel, this is where the leads come in, and
yeah,
you need
Mm-hmm.
to tell
beautiful.
them what is the next step.
Yeah,
What do you want them to do? Do you want them to
yeah,
download your freebie? Do you want them to book
yeah,
a spot in your calendar, etc.?
yeah, yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
So
Yeah,
that's
so I was
profile.
just gonna say for the almost 20 people watching, um, if you had a question about profile optimization, lead generation, or converting clients, or content, or anything of the above, please let us know. Please put those questions down below, and then we'll dedicate some time to or even if you just want to add your expertise or add to the discussion, please let us know down below.
Yes,
So
please.
yeah,
So this
continue.
brings me to the second,
Yeah.
let's call it learning.
Yeah.
Um, that's a huge one. Content creation.
Mm,
Way.
huge,
Wow.
huge.
Content creation
What a
is
beast.
massive in a sense that the biggest mistake you can do to start with is not creating content or not sharing content. That's the number one mistake. And it's usually a consequence of fear of other people's opinion, like,
Mm-hmm.
what do
Mm-hmm.
they say, what do they how do you can I share that? Is that professional enough? Is that not too whatever personal? I don't know what picture to share. I don't know how to write it, and all these kind of things. And usually it's fear of what other people are saying. And this is something which is very important, which goes out to all leaders out there, is
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to promote and push social selling in your company, of course every big company, especially the mid-size to large-size companies, that have a framework which is usually the social media guidelines. Of course you need to put out some guidelines, you need to create awareness of your team, you need to train your team, and you need to tell them what they are allowed to do and what not.
Yeah,
And with that,
absolutely.
I'm not saying don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. What I'm saying is give them the space to breathe, give them the space to make mistakes,
So true.
make mistakes, and if there is something which is not, let's say, not right or which you don't like, then tell them. Now, when I say with basic trainings in content creation, is for me it's very clear. Don't share any posts about politics, no post about
Mhm.
religions and all this kind of things. Just remove
Big
it
Big
away.
mistake. Big
Keep
mistakes.
it,
mistake.
whatever. I mean, we all have our opinion. That's okay. But I always say, if you have an opinion, you tell it to your friends. You can discuss it in one to one, but don't put it out there, because this can be very, very dangerous for your personal brand, but also for the company brand. And that's why
Yeah.
keep it in your area of expertise. If you're not sure what to share, then ask some friends, hey, what do you think? But if you don't share that post, you will never find out.
Yeah.
Love that.
Same,
Love that.
same with overthinking. I can tell you, and probably
Overthinking.
Mark and Jordan,
Oh,
Amazing.
big one.
probably you
Yeah.
have the same. You have the same experience.
Amazing.
Those posts which I invest most time with every letter, every
Perform
sentence,
less.
every dot. I do this, I do that. I change the headline. I change the hook. I change the call to action, whatever. Those posts are usually completely over engineered, which
Yep.
means they don't fly.
That's true.
It's
Oh
true.
man,
Yeah.
very
100%.
very
those
true.
Love that.
those days where I either come to the office or I'm at home, and I'm not sure about what to post, and I start typing a post on my mobile phone. Those are usually the best posts, the best
Yeah,
performing posts. I
that's
mean,
true.
because
They're
they
more
come
That's so
personal,
straight,
right?
true. That's so
yeah,
true.
and they're more personal. They come straight from your heart. I think that's
Exactly.
really the main reason. They connect
Exactly.
with people because
Yeah.
they are the most authentic. You
Yeah.
write as you speak,
Yeah.
Yep.
and
For
I think
sure.
that's very,
A-
very
a-
important.
And another point is to be aligned with everything, like your
Mm.
content and your profile, right? And so,
Yeah.
along with that, Patrick, like if you live and breathe and you know your customers and you're a product of social selling and you know their pain points and you breathe for them and you want to support them, those spur of the moment posts are going to be aligned almost perfectly with your
For sure.
profile and with your brand.
Great
and
point.
and then boom,
Absolutely,
viral posts with
absolutely.
many leads coming in, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
one hundred
it's all
percent.
about like living and breathing social selling, supporting the community, well, always what I say, like in my last post, I said mindset, strategy, and consistency.
Yeah,
Three
absolutely.
big things that you
Yeah,
need to incorporate in your daily LinkedIn grind, right? So yeah,
agree 100%.
All
Absolutely.
right, guys. I
it's about
love that.
that. Yep.
I
So
got a.
we do have a question here
Oh
from
yeah, yeah. Let's go there.
Winston. Yeah, okay. So this is kind of a big question here,
Yeah.
that
Huge.
that involves kind of like many things. So
Mm.
let's Patrick, go ahead.
Thank you. I
So how do
mean,
you attract high ticket
I mean
clients?
that's like one of the 100 million dollars question, of
Yeah,
course. How do you
exactly.
attract high ticket clients? I mean, there as well here there is no specific way to how to attract them, because many things are influencing if you are you
Mm,
know if you can attract those kind of clients, and it's
Hmm.
more or less a summary of what we have been discussing until now. Positioning, how do you position yourself? In a sense that,
beautiful.
are you position yourself as an expert in XYZ, expert for coaches? Are you whatever, a coach for leaders or a coach for solopreneurs, or are you a coach for people who want to become more fit, or whatever it is? I
Mm.
mean, positioning is number one. Then your profile needs to reflect that positioning, and the
Wow.
higher tickets you are, the higher the tickets are, obviously, the more premium your appearance also needs to be. Not just your appearance. Obviously, the first, how shall I say, the first impression. But many people stop there, and that's a big mistake too, because the
Yeah,
second impression needs to be as good, because otherwise you're lost anyways.
100%.
Or it's even worse
100%.
actually. So
Yeah, 100%.
positioning, profile, and then content. And it's exactly what we discussed
Beautiful.
now. And with the
Beautiful.
content, for me, it's if you want to attract high ticket customers or customers in general, you need to pump out tons of value. I know
Yeah.
so many people who say, I don't want to share this because otherwise my competitors will learn and that. I mean, guys,
Yeah.
everything today, in today's world, you find all
All
information,
online.
everything, all online.
ChatGPT,
YouTube,
Google,
even TikTok,
TikTok,
ChatGPT, LinkedIn,
everything.
you find everything. Your high ticket customers, they're not looking for the information. Of course, they're happy to get the information. What they need help with is with the implementation. And that's and
Beautiful.
that's
Yeah,
where
100%.
where you have this thin line between helping your customers with information, but where they really need help is with the implementation, and that's when they come to you, and that's how you can attract them by showing them how to do. They will try it. Some will also be very successful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that nobody can do it, but some will be very successful. But many people will still need help. I mean, look, Mark, Jordan, and myself, we are sharing every day tips and tricks all about LinkedIn. Still, we have a flourishing business, right? Because we have still
100%.
customers. Imagine if I look at all the content I pump out there and we pump out, then if I would have the mindset of I don't want to share my secrets, then probably, today I would not have any business.
Yeah.
Love that. Love
100%.
that. I'd
100%.
like to add one thing here. Like, I'm a typical Englishman, and I like to drink my cup of tea. All right. You might think, like, where's he going with his cup of tea, this guy? So, my number
I
one
have
thing for business owners is begins with the letter T. It comes down to time. So you
Mm,
can show them all your expertise. You can show them all the tips, the tricks, the strategies, how to do, how to do this, how to create these leads, how to do that. But if they don't have the time to do it, that's the difference. That's where the high ticket comes in. You're showcasing because you are trading your time for a service which you provide. So they're paying you for that time that you're providing to them. And that's where the high ticket really comes in. And Winston, if you're still watching, it all depends on how big your high ticket is. So
mm,
if you're talking 20K, 50K, 100K, half a million, or are we talking 5K, 2K, 1K? So it does depend on which type of high ticket you are currently looking for. So if you do want to reach out to Patrick, I'm sure he'd be happy to help you. So just drop him a DM, and then he can obviously see if he can support you there. But it all comes down to time with business owners, in my opinion, and
yeah,
founders and CEOs.
exactly. Yeah,
Jordan?
yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of moving components into attracting high quality, high ticket leads. There's a lot of factors there with marketing, with
Mm-hmm.
brand recognition.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have all those, well, then that's not going to succeed. L- like,
Mhm.
um, like there's only the brand Hermes. They cost like five
Yep.
thousand to 10K. How they sell is they only have two colors, beige and black. That's all, and they get like maybe 200 people in a room
Mm-hmm.
that are on the waiting list. The waiting list for a Hermes bag is 5 years long,
Yep.
and and so these people, only like maybe a couple hundred, get into the room, and they're super excited for the Hermes bag. Can you imagine? Oh, I don't like the black one. Do you have a green one? They don't even ask that question. They
They
just
just
go,
buy.
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
I want to pay 5 grand for this bag now, and boom,
And
that
it's funny.
is the brand recognition there. that is the type of urgency that we need to create every single day on LinkedIn if people are going to
Jordan,
identify with a brand. Go ahead.
amazing story. So another part of that story of that particular brand, because my wife always talks about them too.
Oh
You
yeah,
have to physically be invited. You
yeah,
cannot. If I have £1 million today, I can't go buy myself a Hermes handbag. I have to be invited by Hermes, and Hermes need to want me to have one of their bags. That's the power that their bags have. So use this how you will. However, use this to use the word no. Say no more to attract higher clients. So if there's low ticket coming to you left, right, center, if you say yes, 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 and then that high ticket comes and you don't have time anymore to take that high ticket, where are you going to be? You're going to be stuck and you're going to have to say no to this high ticket. So learn from Hermes, from the bag, Hermes, and learn about taking in the right people, spending the time, and learn what Patrick was saying about the purpose, the content, and there was another one. Sorry, another P. The Patrick, can you help me out here?
Positioning.
The positioning. Beg your pardon. So positioning, purpose, content, time, and accepting the right people, and that's how you're going to get your high tickets.
yeah, yeah,
Mark, you. That's a perfect post for you guys.
yeah.
The
That's a
Hermes
perfect for all
example.
of us.
I
Yeah.
already see the PDF document on my LinkedIn feed. Like the Hermes, become the Hermes of LinkedIn and
Oh,
close high
beautiful.
tickets and
Hey,
close high tickets.
hey, man, you can use that, Patrick,
No, no,
anytime,
no,
man.
no. It's your story. I
Anytime.
don't use it.
So so yeah. I mean, okay. So just to wrap up, if anyone has any more questions, please knock them down below. We have close to 20 people watching, so please, if you have any more questions, like good old Winston did, please knock them down below. So I suppose, like, what what do you think is the most important takeaway to social selling, Patrick? I know there's like a lot to
Yeah.
about, but I'm talking about you personally. What is your
Yeah,
opinion
yeah,
about social selling?
absolutely. I think one thing which actually which was supposed to be my third point, but Mark
Yeah.
mentioned it already, is time. I think it's very
Mm,
very important, and we get like sometimes I even how you say catch myself in doing it. It's like not considering the factor time. What I mean with time is you can't just close a business overnight. Of course, you can be lucky, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I realize it with all the people I'm coaching, very often, because once they find out how easy it is to find decision makers through LinkedIn, if you know how to use either Sales Navigator or the LinkedIn Advanced Search or whatever, and how easy it is to find the decision maker. Wow, it's all there. He's sharing all his detail. You kind of sometimes we tend to forget about the fact that, hey,
oh yeah, that's good.
I don't know
Fireworks.
how this is working.
Setting the fire.
That's because I'm Italian, and then it's that you have this fireworks. Anyways, we sometimes tend to forget that there is a person behind that profile, and
Yeah.
that we need to
Wow,
first connect, and that it takes time,
amazing,
and I think this
amazing.
factor time is very important. So, and even myself again, sometimes I have like new services, new products. I'm so excited to get them out that I forget. I go straight not into pitch, but straight, in direction of positioning the product. And then after a couple of days, I realized I didn't get a feedback or no response, and then I realized I should have known better because it's
Yeah,
too fast. So sometimes you need to consider. You need to consider that it takes time, but
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very important.
100%.
Don't miss the right moment.
Yeah,
Watch out for those
exactly,
signals. When
Yeah.
you
exactly.
when you feel, and salespeople, they can feel it. Usually when you talk with a person, it's easier, but even in the DMs, you can feel, okay, this is the right moment. Now, then you need to attack. Then you need
Yeah.
to change gear and say, okay, now I need to go next level and either
Exactly.
get the person into a call or
Yeah.
whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that.
100%. Um, like these calls are absolutely magical, right? I mean, I just went on two calls. I didn't have any intent to selling, just getting to know. They asked me where I'm from, my story, and then they asked me what my services are. It's like, yeah, I'm interested in those services. Can we schedule another call? I'm like, well, I said, well, this isn't the intention of this call, but yeah, sure, let's talk about it sometime in the future. So,
Yeah.
so it's all about like time and patience, right? So,
Yeah.
um, over
Yeah.
here, is it wrong to send personalized AI pitching
I,
messages?
Yes.
I would love to take that if I
Sure,
can.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Because
Unleash
this
the
brings
beast.
me this brings me actually it's like the continuation of what I've just been saying in a sense that you know and again it closes the circle of what we have been saying at the beginning is like
Yeah.
there is no right or wrong strategy.
Mm,
And every
Mhm.
person is different. I have been reaching out to people and they came back to me and say, hey, Patrick, come to the point, what do you want, so
oh
sometimes
yeah,
you have certain
it's
people
true.
who prefer to know immediately, like, hey, look, I do
Mm,
this in this service, are you interested, yes or no?
yeah,
Some people prefer that.
True.
yeah,
Others, for
true,
other
true.
people, it's absolute no-go. It depends
Yeah,
on the
true.
personality of the person, which
One
is
hundred percent.
almost impossible to find out, obviously. That's why
Mm,
we need to,
Icebreaker.
if yeah, you have to give it a try. So the answer to the
Mm.
question to Winston is actually it's not wrong, definitely not wrong to
yeah.
use AI, to personalize the message. The question is just how authentic it is. Is it still your message? And how much can AI really, let's say, personalize, because there are different
Yeah,
levels of personalization. If it's
exactly,
just a name and a company
exactly.
name,
Hmm.
okay, that's not really
Yeah,
personal.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, if you
Exactly.
are
That's what I
looking
said.
into the profile and look for a small detail and mention that,
Mm,
there,
yeah,
as far as I know, there is no AI doing that.
yeah, exactly. Like with AI, especially, it's like you have to make it more human, and
Yeah.
that's what people are struggling with, right? Um,
100%.
and the thing is, I believe that AI is getting there, but it's not quite human just yet, right? So is it wrong, Winston? Absolutely not. Try it out, see if it works. If not, well then go with a much more personalized, all right,
I
message.
give
So
you I give you a
yeah,
little tip or a little hack here.
go ahead.
If you sometimes, I'm people who work with me, they know that when I write, usually I have, let's say, some typing mistakes. That's just one big
Hmm.
weakness
Yeah,
of mine, in any language, by the way. And sometimes having a typing mistake, on purpose or not, in a message, looks so human that even
mm,
It's
without
unreal.
saying it, people say, oh, okay, this is, and when the message, even if no matter whether it's a connection message or a pitch or whatever, when it's so perfect, when it's too perfect, it doesn't look
yeah,
human anymore. And I think that's the
yeah.
problem
Agree.
of
I
AI. And that's
agree.
why
Is
100%.
I
that
think
is
the maybe the tip here is write as you speak. Use
Yep.
AI to maybe to reformulate.
yeah,
I use AI, for example, or
enhance.
ChatGPT mainly to formulate or reformulate certain sentences because English
Mm.
is not my main language, obviously, as you figured out. Um, and then it's like how shall I say? I write a very complicated sentence, which even myself I don't understand, and then say, "Can you rewrite it in simpler terms?" That's how
Hmm.
I try to use it,
Yep.
and then it's simpler, especially when you write in a language which is not your own language.
Yeah,
Love that.
yeah, 100%. So, very good. We're coming up on the hour there, Patrick. Thank you so much for your time. Um, any takeaways, Mark, from this session? What do you
Yeah,
think?
no, I think a massive one. So just to sum it all up, I think it's all about being genuine, understanding your purpose, understanding your positioning, learning from your mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes I think Patrick was obviously saying is that if you don't start now, you won't get anywhere. So if you're considering to post that first piece of content, just press that button, press that blue button that says post, and just get it out there, let it fly,
Mm.
and and then build as you go. A/B split testing was a massive one too. So I think Patrick was talking about A/B split testing when it comes to your
Yeah.
content form, long form, short form, when it comes to your types, when it comes to your DMs. So he was saying about your connections, whether it be you don't send anything written in there, you send a super personalized, you send a mid personalized, or you send something which is like completely over personalized.
Yeah.
The use of AI is absolutely fine, but make sure we're using it on a personal level and we're adjusting it and humanizing it. So basically, I'm like Fathom, but the human version. So I just like note take everything
Yeah.
that in the
No,
conversation.
no,
So
that's like
that's
Mark's
the
strong
roundup
point,
of
right?
the
I,
live,
I,
guys.
I could never do that, but yeah. Okay, guys, thanks so much. So, thanks so much, Patrick. So, again, the moral of the story is keep it human. The essence of social selling is impacting, helping, and to see if we can help them. Um,
One last
because that
question.
is very important. Yeah, go ahead. One last question there. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. Patrick, what do you have coming up, and how can people contact you regarding it?
Before coming to that, I just quickly wanted to say one last thing, which is
Sure,
like, I want to say it. I can't leave
sure.
that
Go ahead.
session
Yeah.
without saying it.
Go ahead.
I think it's like a generic tip for everybody watching and listening today is like, look at social selling and LinkedIn as a big picture, as like a puzzle. Okay.
Mm,
Every piece of
beautiful.
content, every comment, every DM, every connection request is a piece which is building
Wow.
your overall picture, which is painting
Mm,
your overall picture. You
Wow.
know, if even if you
Amazing.
don't like to share content, then go into the DMs, still connect with people, optimize
Mm,
your profile. You know, if you don't like commenting, then don't do it. Then do something else. But don't
mm.
just stop everything because there is one thing you don't like doing. That's
nice.
like a
Well,
message I really want to share because it's
that's
so important.
incredible.
So many people miss massive opportunities because of content creation. But content
Mm,
creation, we all agree, is very, very good and it's great. But there are other ways as well to generate
Yeah,
leads.
yeah,
So,
100%.
from my side, I mean, guys, I want to thank you to answer
Yeah,
the Mark's question. Is very simple. Connect with me, follow me here on
yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah,
I share basically content every day about LinkedIn, social
yeah,
selling, sales in general, and employer branding, which is a big, big
yeah,
also topic of mine, which I love. Is like I look at social selling and LinkedIn as an approach for the entire company, starting from
yeah,
leadership to marketing and sales to all employees.
yeah,
And as
100%.
you asked, if
yep.
you're interested,
Yeah,
my book Salesification is now
Mm,
in English. The original is this one in
awesome.
German. Here, that's in German. And it's exactly that mindset. It's about how to implement
Yeah,
LinkedIn and social selling in an organization. That's the
yeah.
first part of the book, and the second part is tips and tricks all around LinkedIn, profile
So,
optimization, content
uh,
creation, etc. You can get it on
where, yeah,
Amazon.
go Amazon,
Amazon, yes,
Amazon, yeah.
yes.
I was
Oh,
going to
okay,
ask
that's what I
you.
was gonna say. Like,
That's cool.
awesome.
That's cool.
Well, Patrick, we got to do it again sometime. This was value packed, and you're definitely in alignment with us. I mean, that's how we met: coffee chat and collaboration, and this has absolutely been a beautiful experience. Hope to have you again soon, my friend. And
I
for yeah, go ahead.
no, I just see a question from Inge. It's
Oh
my
yeah,
name is
Inga.
Patrick Simone. You can maybe see it here.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Simone, like Simon with an e at the end.
yeah.
I didn't put it in the in. I just wrote Patrick. I don't know why, but anyways, it's.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for this time. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you for the almost 20 people who watched the live, or I think over 25 peak attendance. So thank you very much. If you have any doubts or questions, please reach out to Patrick, Mark, or me, and we'll be absolutely ecstatic to show you the way and guide you in that direction. Thank you very much, and have a good night for you, Patrick. Afternoon for
Thank
me, night for you, Mark. Okay, bye bye,
See you
guys.
later.